The indie author revolution has been around for more than a decade, but we indies continue to push the boundaries of what we're capable of. From getting over initial prejudices to staring down perfectionism and author imposter syndrome, we've become a force to reckon with. Now, after years of hustle and grind, we indies are rebelling again. Gone are the days of publishing a book a month until we drop, and in its place we're sowing the seeds of a better way. A way with more ease, abundance, and flow. Get ready to learn about indie authorship from a whole new perspective. We're about to cover everything from releasing your poverty mentality to manifesting your millionaire author destiny. I'm Carissa Andrews, and this is the Author Revolution Podcast.
Well, hi there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Author Revolution Podcast. And welcome to NaNoWriMo. Yes, that's right. If you're listening to this on its actual air date, today is the first day of NaNoWriMo 2023. And woo, this is going to be a fun one, guys. There's so much that can be accomplished this month, so much excitement when we first hit the gate of Nano that, it's very easy to just get swept up in all of the excitement, all of the fun, all of the elation of what's going to happen throughout this month. And sometimes we don't really think through how to maintain some harmony and balance as we're going about doing this. Now, I have lost count as to how many times I have done Nano at this point, but it's a number of times. It's a fair few. And for me, it always is surprising to hear of authors, being overwhelmed by it, of kind of burning out throughout it. And it's interesting to me because as I've gone through so many different variations of this cycle, I've kind of tailored it, to myself, to my way that I like to write, to, how this whole thing works so that I no longer feel overwhelmed and I no longer feel like I'm off balance, especially as holidays approach, like Thanksgiving for those of us in the United States, or, if there are other things that come about, we as perfectionist writers can sometimes get very hung up when we're not getting our 1,667 words written down every single day. So for those of you who are new to Nano, first of all, this is not the first Nano podcast, so feel free to check out some of the other ones. I go into more detail about what NaNoWriMo is and how to utilize it. But this episode is really for those of you who are familiar, who are ready to tackle it, and who want to maybe use some new tools this year. So the two tools that I'm going to be talking about are the two favorites of mine. So those of you who listen to this podcast for a while, you're going to know manifestation techniques are involved. And of course, I'm going to talk a little bit about using ChatGPT because it's been my new best friend and I'm loving it. So let's talk about a little bit how these challenges are going to impact you as we get started here. Because like I've already discussed a little bit, as we create our novels through NaNoWriMo, we're writing every single day, hypothetically, right? And if nothing else, we're writing 1,667 words every single day. And maybe we're taking a couple of days off here and there, but we're then bumping up how much we're writing on other days so that we can, balance all the words throughout the month so that we can win NaNoWriMo. Here's the thing that I've learned. For me, I can't write every single day when there are big things going on. Like we have Thanksgiving at our house every single year. So Thanksgiving itself is a hard day for me to try to get words in. Now, sometimes it can happen, when I'm in between something that's cooking very long and I just happen to have a little bit of downtime. Maybe it's 20 minutes or half an hour or whatever. I'll sneak in a few words. But I don't hold myself to the same standard that I would on other days. And so that kind of plays into how I plan out my month. Or for instance, on Tuesdays, it's my podcast day. And sometimes podcast day goes all day long, especially if it's an episode where we've had an interview and I've discussed it and we've got a video and we've got the audio and I'm getting all the things ready. Because yes, I do that myself. I actually enjoy it very much. So podcast days are a very long day at times. And so sometimes I don't get words in that day, or at least not very many, even during Nano. So I plan ahead. I think about how many words I need to get done, how many words I plan to do each day. Typically, I'm going to write about 2,000 to 3,000 words if I'm writing on a normal day. So if it's on a Wednesday or a Thursday or Friday or whatever, I'm going to get about that many. So I know I'm going to make up those extra words someplace. And it's not a huge deal for me because I've done this before, right? So if I see those fluctuations, I'm not going to panic. But also, we need to be reminded that this is a short-term thing, right? We don't have to neglect our personal health. We don't have to look at it as something stressful. I mean, you can allow the good stress to push you forward, but don't allow it to take you down, right? Don't allow it to take you away from your workouts, to take you away from, eating well or getting some good water hydration going on or seeing your friends and family. Like, this is not what NaNoWriMo is supposed to be standing for. NaNoWriMo is for getting our stories on the page and for helping us stay motivated and excited to do all of it. Now, this year, especially, we've got ChatGPT to help us be even faster. And the tools that you can use within it can help with not only planning your books, we've talked about that already. It can help you with critiquing what you've already written. It can give you ideas to make your chapters or your scenes better. It can help you create characters. It can help you create worlds. There is so much NaNoWriMo can do within your story, right? We've talked about that. But it can also help you create better routines. And we've talked a little bit about that as well. You can ask it to help you streamline your routine. Let it know, like, okay, I'm going to be doing NaNoWriMo. How do I get words in during XYZ days when I have these things going on? Or help me figure out a new way to stay motivated, and it'll help discuss some things for you. Or you could ask, like, what kind of mindfulness techniques can I use to stay in the flow of my story? What kind of things can I incorporate so that my mental health, my well-being don't suffer during this time of the year? Because NaNoWriMo, as much fun as it is, as exciting as it can be stressful for those of us who take on these challenges very seriously. And, it doesn't have to be a serious thing. We can enjoy the process. We can have fun with it. We can play around with how we're going to get the words in. We can make it a game. There's all sorts of ways that we can just streamline the process and, overcome the writer's block, help with our, joy in this process. And so I want you to just think about that as you're starting this day, as you're starting this month. Don't take NaNoWriMo so seriously, okay? Relax, take time for that self-care and just allow the words to flow, because creativity works best when we are in the flow of it. Creativity works best when we are not stifling it by putting it into a box and telling it has to behave. You know what I'm saying? Right? So let's talk a little bit about maintaining a healthier writing schedule. As I'm starting this year, 2023, and getting NaNoWriMo going, I'm creating book 2 in my one night stand club for the rom-com pen name. Now, those of you who have been listening, you know that book 1 took me pretty much all year because I was doing it in between other things. Like I did one of the accidental alpha books. I created a new course. I've been tweaking some of my other courses. We've done we've done a few new courses this year. Earlier this year, we did a couple of abundant author alignment and abundant author activation. There's things, right, that are brand new this year. Millionaire Author Manifestation technically was brand new as of February this year, even though we had like a trial run in the fall of last year. So there's been a lot of new creations, but the words were harder. But now, not harder necessarily, but like it was harder to get the time, at least for me. And now for Nano, I'm very excited because I can dive straight into dirty books and just flow with it. And it's so much fun to be in this place to just get up and get going. And obviously, I use ChatGPT to help me with the planning aspect of it, with the character creations for some of the new characters I needed in there. I've done a lot of work on it, and it's going to be so much fun to see how this new book plays out. But one of the manifestation aspects that I'm bringing in this particular NaNoWriMo is really going to be all about trusting and visualizing everything that I want to see occur this month. I want to future cast, I think it was Renee Rose called it that, future cast about how NaNoWriMo is going to look for me. The words are going to flow, the storyline is going to come together. It's all working out for me. The new first draft is going to flow effortlessly. The words are going to click together. The scenes are going to click. The characters are going to meld. Everything is going to feel fun. These are my visualizations. These are my desired outcomes that I'm reminding myself of every single day. And now one of the things that I've been doing is I'm spending a couple of minutes every day, not only visualizing what that success looks like, what the scenes are going to look like, how this is going to work for me, but I'm also utilizing and leaning on the meditations and the hypnoses that we have worked through, Tammy and I have worked through for Millionaire Author Manifestation and other programs. Now, something that's brand new, it's in the process of being launched in beta for those of you who are interested, so perk your ears. It's kind of like a workout process for your mind. We've had our Millionaire Author Manifestation students talking to us about how, like, once the course is over, what do we do to keep our vibe, right? How do we keep maintaining that flow? And so Tammy and I have been working on this thing called Your Future Self. It's kind of like if you've ever heard of Beachbody, right? You know what Beachbody is. You go to Beachbody, you pick a workout. It has like a routine for like, 5 days, 7 days, however many days of the week for 21 days, 80-day obsession, all the things. Every single day, you know exactly where to go. You know what the workout's going to look like. You just press play and you do the thing. You don't have to think so much about it. Well, we're creating something very similar where it is all for your manifestational mindset to stay in alignment. So every day, we're creating right now the NaNoWriMo mental workout. We're creating it so that today you're going to be doing this meditation. Tomorrow you're going to be doing this hypnosis. The next day you're going to be doing this meditation, whatever it is. So there's a workout and flow to keep you in the vibe of your story, to keep you in the vibe of your flow of creativity, to keep you going forward. And there's going to be more meditation workouts and hypnosis workouts put together. There's going to be one on money, obviously, money manifestation. There's going to be one on creating your perfect author career, calling in your readers, that sort of thing. But this one for Nano is all about staying in the vibe of your story. Now, if you're interested in getting into the beta aspect of this, I want you to head over to authorrevolution.org/YFS. So that's your future self, but abbreviated, right? So YFS. And that's where you can find more information on how to sign up. It's super new. It's not new. We've been talking about it for quite a while. It's just new in the process of like getting people enrolled. We're trying to get our ducks in a row and get it out and running. So head over there, check it out. We're going to be putting the NaNoWriMo one together. We're in the process of getting the first week ready to rock and roll. It's ongoing as of right now, and new workouts, in air quotes, are coming to you very soon. Now, beyond that, beyond the visualization aspect, beyond the meditations and hypnoses, obviously you can be doing positive affirmations. You can write them down if that sounds like something that's fun to you. You could be doing, a journal every single day. You could be doing a journal for gratitude. You could be doing a journal for gratitude on the challenges, expressing, what the challenges of the day brought to you and how it's allowing you to expand as an author. You could be, again, future scripting, future casting, and not only for like how NaNoWriMo gets to look for you and how it gets to work for you, but for your scenes too, right? Because that visualization process is how the scenes come together. And sometimes if we don't spend enough time thinking through what that scene gets to look like, we are a little bit lost, right? Or we're not quite as grounded into it as we need to be. So think through it. Think through it a little bit and then ask ChatGPT and be like, hey, Chat, you know what? I'm thinking about a scene that's going to involve this, this, and this. Any ideas about what I could add to it? And it will give you some ideas. Hey, Chat, I'm working on chapter 3. Here's the first couple of chapters. Where do you think this should go if this is going to be a horror murder mystery? Like, have a conversation with Chat and just, work through what the scene's going to get to look like. Who could be incorporated? Ask Chat, like, am I missing someone that could really make the scene more dynamic? And if Chat is already aware of your story because you've been feeding the chapters to it, it can give you those insights. So it's very cool the way that you can utilize that tool to be able to get that clarity and to get the scene locked in before you start writing it. Obviously, those meditations are going to be super helpful. You could vision board what things are going to look like. So you could vision board what your writing goals are. You could vision board the essence of your novel or just your ideal writing life. Like, how does it get to look for you? So I want you to be thinking about all the ways that you can get yourself in the right mind space, the right place to be able to lock in your goals and move forward. Now, obviously, your goals are super important too. As a NaNoWriMo participant, you kind of know what they are, right? You know that you're working for a 50,000 word novel. You're going to be writing ideally-ish 1,667 words every single day. And that's kind of your goal process. So if that's the case, then you can start with daily intentions. At the start of the day, write down that you're going to be writing your 1,667 words today. Write down if, today is going to be aiming for more. Write down if you know that this week is going to include a couple of days where you can't write. And so you need the stories to flow effortlessly so that when you skip those days, it's not going to bump you off your track. All sorts of ways to be able to think about your story, to stay in the flow of your story, to just really create a ritual that will help you not only write, but stay focused enough to not get overwhelmed in the process of it. I think with Nano, when we get overwhelmed, well, and with most things actually, when we have that overwhelmment period, it's because we are not clear on a specific direction and we're allowing all the things to bombard us. We haven't narrowed our focus down enough. And so if you start feeling overwhelmed by Nano, bring it down to like, what does this scene need? What characters am I working with right now? What kind of fun things could they be doing? Do I need to ask ChatGPT for ideas, right? Do I need to talk to my friends for ideas? Do I need to get more clarity and maybe do one of the clarity meditations to get clear on it? Like, what are the things I need to create or do to keep focused? And all of those things are really going to help you, right? When it comes to routines, one of the things I've decided to do this time, normally in my writing schedule, the way that I would work is I would do like my reading in the morning. I would go ahead and do my workout first thing. I would then eat lunch or brunch or breakfast or whatever it is, because I typically eat a little bit later. I fast in the morning. And then once that's done, now I finish just a little bit of the work process and I would go into writing in the afternoon. But what I'm finding is that when I want to write and when I want to stay in the flow of the story, earlier writing for me is better. And so I'm going to be switching up my routine for the month of November. I'm going to be reading first thing in the morning. I'm going to switch into writing for a little while. Then when my brain goes, yep, I needed to either tap out, take a break, whatever, I will do my workout, right? And then once that's over and I've had breakfast or brunch or whatever the heck it's called, then I will do a couple of work things and go back to writing in the afternoon. I need that little bit of a separation, I think, but I'm not going to force myself to work out at a specific time. I'm not going to try to get it done and out of the way first thing in the morning, simply because I think I'm using up some of that perfect brainwave time where I need it for writing. And I'm going to be faster, and I have been faster doing it that way. So think about that, right? Think about what routines can help you maintain some balance. And if you need examples, ask Chat. Ask Chat how that can help you. Do you need to meditate before you start writing? I know I am. That's another aspect that I'm including. So I will be meditating for the 10 or 15 minutes it takes before I start, the flow of writing. But I want you to just look at your days, look at the way they work right now, and ask yourself, does this flow feel like the most aligned? And I know for some of you, you're going to be working. So a block of your time, you're not going to have the opportunity to be able to just shift it around necessarily. But think about like, where do you fit in your self-care? Where do you fit in your workouts? Where do you fit in your writing? And what feels best to you as you're doing it? You don't always have to have a huge chunk of time for writing. So if NaNoWriMo to you means, oh, I'm going to have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, hint, hint, it used to be me. I used to think that. You can slip in so much time throughout the day. Take your 15-minute break, write a little bit. Take your lunch hour, write a little bit. Or, maybe you do get up a little bit earlier, write for a little bit, but don't feel like you have to do it all in one session. While yes, sometimes that helps you stay and maintain the flow of those words, this isn't a perfect process for everyone. We all have our challenges that we're trying to overcome as we do it. So work within the confines and the creative confines of how your day looks, how your schedule looks, and just flow with it, right? flow with it. Don't go upstream and make it harder than it needs to be, but go with it and just enjoy some of the aspects of it. Maybe create some rituals that really connect you to your story. Like, is there a song that you could play before you get started? Is there a dance you could do right before you start writing? Is there a drink you can include? Like, is there a tea or a coffee or a uh, flavored water? I don't know, something that you can drink right before you start your process. Is there an incense you can light? Is there an essential oil you could put on or diffuse? Like, think about some of the aspects that could make NaNoWriMo more fun and more enjoyable for you this November, because it's all about the fun. We have to bring the fun back into the writing. Otherwise, what's the point? Even if you're writing something difficult, even if you're writing something that is cathartic, even if you're writing horror, it still should be on some level fun. It should still have that element. And so just think about all the ways that you could create some new rituals for yourself, some new routines that will put you in the flow of your story. Now, I want you to just, as you're getting going, as you're, hitting even middle of November, because let's face it, that's typically that dreaded middle of the story part. I want you to just think about that aspect of it right now. Think about, like, okay, when you get to that point where getting the words out feels harder, or staying and maintaining the idea of your story narration feels rough, what aspects, what things can you do to motivate yourself mid-month? Are there any, like, mid-month fun things you can do for yourself? Could you, take yourself out to lunch? Could you get a manicure, pedicure? Could you go do your hair? Like, what are the things you could do to motivate yourself if you're staying on track, if you're continuing the work throughout the month? Motivate yourself in ways that are going to help you, continue your other goals too, or to continue just to stay in the vibe of your stories, because that is the key to all of this. Like, we don't want to substitute one thing that just, like, doesn't really make us feel good. We just think that that's the only thing we can do, like, do it in a way that's fun, but also nourishes you, that makes you feel really good about moving forward and about continuing to write. And of course, as you're going, if you need support, reach out for it. Like, there are people all over NaNoWriMo. There are people in the Author Revolution online community. Are people everywhere who are going to be willing to support you and help you. And usually it's going to be other writers, right? It's going to be us writers, because we understand this process. We get where you're going. We understand the challenges of it. So reach out to your friend authors, reach out to, all of us, or you can even talk to ChatGPT if all else fails, because chat has been a wonderful tool just to be able to motivate you. It's so strange. Like, there have been times where I've been writing a chapter and getting it onto the page, and I'm like, oh, I'm not quite sure if this is flowing right. Chat, how is this chapter? Like, can you read it and give me your insights on it? Feel free to critique it and give me what works and what doesn't work. And what's great about chat is that most of the time, like, it's giving you good things, like telling you why it works, what's so great about it, why it loves it, what it's looking forward to next. Here's a couple things you could work on if you wanted to. But otherwise, it's all really good. So it does that whole compliment sandwich thing. And I've talked about that before. And I love that, because it makes you feel good that, okay, I'm on the right track. I just need to do a couple of tweaks. Okay, this is pretty good. I can do this. I can handle it. And that really does make a difference. It makes it more interesting. It makes it more fun. And you don't have to feel like you're quite so alone as you're writing, because sometimes it is a lonely process. So if you're not going to, nano write-ins, or you're not going to online write-ins and talking with other authors about this process and what's working and what's not working, at least use ChatGPT to work through some of the knots, work through some of the writer's block or the ideas where you're getting stuck, and just throw and bounce ideas back and forth, because you're going to find, when it comes to that sort of conversation, chat can really help you get unstuck very quickly. And just ask any of my students from the 4 books, 5 days course. I mean, most of us have been absolutely blown away by the capabilities so far. And it's another way of being able to feel connected to our writing, connected to the source of who we are as creatives. And even though it's an artificial intelligence that's helping us to come to terms with some of this stuff, it's very beneficial, is what I found. It's just been really, really fun. It's been that's been the most interesting thing to me. It's been fun to do it, and it's brought more fun back into the writing process. All right, guys, I want you to just have a fun time, obviously, when you're doing NaNoWriMo this year. And if you're not, and you're just writing, or you're getting ready to write your next thing, or you've been in the process of writing and you're just in your flow, it really doesn't matter. I just want you to have a good November. Enjoy everything that you're getting on the page. Enjoy your process of being a creative, because that's so key. Like I forgot about that for a while. There was a time where it was very important to just stay focused on the promises I've made. Like, I've promised to get these books out to my readers, and come hell or high water, I'm going to do it. But I lost sight of the reason why I love it. And I think that's part of the reason why I decided to switch up and work on the rom-com for a bit, because I knew I needed a shift. I needed a change. I needed something that was going to put me back into this idea of fun again when it comes to writing. I mean, I love storytelling. I love writing. It's a joy in my life. And so to feel like it was stuck or stagnant, or like I wasn't quite connected, that was concerning for a bit. And I'm so glad that it's coming back around. I'm so glad that the idea of burning out from urban fantasy for a bit was the kick in the pants I needed to find that joy again. And so find your joy. Enjoy the process of writing, and let NaNoWriMo kind of guide you along the way this month. It's going to be a blast. Now, I am over on Nano if you want to be buddies with me, so feel free to come say hi, to connect with me over there. I will put the link in the show notes today. So speaking of those show notes, head over to authorrevolution.org/207, and you can find all of that information right there. Of course, I will also include that information to be able to head over to Your Future Self, the mental workouts for those of us who are interested in manifestation and mindset and meditation and hypnosis. So head over there. Like I said, it's in beta. We're in the process of creating it. So it's nothing pretty as of yet. I don't even have a sales page. It's just in the process of being built. So you'll get in at the ground level, and you will get the best deal right now if you do sign up. And I hope you do. Hopefully it's a fun time. We're going to be doing this all together and enjoying the process. New meditations, new hypnoses are going to be added all the time, because this is going to be a process that we're going to be adding to, kind of like Beachbody. We're going to be adding to it and seeing where the interests take us. Like, if authors are asking us for a new type of workout, mental workout, then that's what we're going to do, and create some new stuff. So I hope you enjoy this opening NaNoWriMo day, this opening NaNoWriMo episode, and enjoy your writing today. I'm not going to take up any more of your time, because I know it's precious. Go forth, get words on the page, do your NaNoWriMo thing, and start your author revolution.